¿Cómo están, amigos? Bienvenidos. Este va a ser un video en español. ¿Cómo está tu español? No? Not good? So this is going to be a different video. Usually I record in Spanish for my communities in Spanish, but now I'm going deep in Radix for the last week or so. I've been seeing and reviewing Radix for the last couple of months, and I do know Radix, and I do have Radix for a year and a half about. Then I eat all the drop that as everybody, but I did feel my backs on 0.016, so I'm happy right now because I feel them heavier than I had. So it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be good, and I'm starting to speak with the community with different projects. So I'm starting this roadmap with different guys on Cardano. Sorry, I'm used to, and I think you do too as well. So in Radix now, Radix, I'm loving it. I'm liking it, and I think that we're going to discuss a little bit about that because I think that you also were on the Cardano community on the Cardano network, so we can discuss a little bit about that. But I'm gonna shut up and I'm gonna let you introduce the machinist. How are you?
Excellent. I'm good, man. I feel bad. You know, I think I took 7 or 8 years of Spanish, and as soon as I left high school, it was gone. But thank you for having me here.
Did you speak fluently or just like one word or another?
Oh yeah, like I graduated high school with honors in English and Spanish, and now I mean, you know, I can kind of understand some. I think part of the problem was it was like that Castilian Spanish, like very proper Spanish I learned, and then you talk to people. I'm in Connecticut now, but I was in New York. You talk to a Puerto Rican or something, and it does not sound like the same Spanish. So I didn't know. No.
No. Yeah. It's like me. I mean, I do speak with a lot of US guys and UK and Chinese and all over the place for my work and for this. But sometimes when you speak with certain people, it's very difficult to understand because the language or the type of I think I get is the same thing with Puerto Ricans or Cubans or Colombians or something.
We're not picking on Puerto Ricans, just so everyone knows. We love Puerto Ricans on this channel.
Yeah, we love
that
everyone.
Subscribe button if you're Puerto Rican.
That's right. So thanks for accepting being here. I think you've been on Radix ecosystem now for how long?
Actually, I think it was back in March or April. It's kind of a funny story. Like I started years ago on Cardano. Right. And started a podcast and things were going great. Like it's an award-winning podcast. It was the only award-winning podcast on Cardano. I was on Bitcoin making inscriptions when they first came out. You know, like I've been all over the place. But nothing hooked me like Radix. And a buddy of mine had his wallet drained. Someone I know on Cardano, and he posted about it. And all of a sudden, these people from the Radix community, I'm like, what the hell's Radix, right? Start reaching out to them. And they're like, oh, that doesn't happen over here. Like, come to Radix. And they're just sending them tokens left and right. And we decided to do a space. Actually, Jim, the founder of FOMO, helped me set the wallet, helped me get XRD in my wallet. And I mean, I was hooked, man. It's one of the coolest things about Radix. Once people realize what this chain is, they're stuck. And I'm still, I still love my Cardano. You know, I still have all my Bitcoin and inscriptions and everything else. And, you know, there's lots of chains that can serve a lot of different purposes. But I think Radix very easily is the top of the top.
Yeah, I feel kind of the same way because when I first met Radix more than a year ago, I just bought it, stake it, and that's it. And I didn't do anything else. So it was like I was hearing this. Oh, it's super different, the UI, and you can do a lot of things. And I was like, it's like MetaMask. I mean, what the hell? But now that I start doing stuff, it is really much better, super fast, and super secure. So yeah, it's super fun as well. So the tipping bots and all the stuff that you can do on Telegram, that's amazing. I mean, I was like, what is this? Is this real? But it works very good. Yeah. So a lot of things, but the community, man, it's something else. It's different.
Yeah.
So I think that's the main one.
Yeah, and to have an ecosystem where everyone really does work together, right? Like I have a project on Radix. I'm sure we'll talk about it in a minute. But when I started this, compared to everyone else, I was an outsider from the ecosystem, right? Because they'd been there for years. I was only there for a couple months. And I got nothing but support across the board from projects, whether they were top 10 projects on the chain or, they had zero volume. As long as you're doing the right thing and you're treating the community right, everyone seems to help each other. It's really, really cool.
That's something very cool because I was when I stepped out in Cardano. So in Cardano, I had something similar. So I got Cardano very cheap on 2020 on the COVID crash. I got the very bottom, and then I ride it all the way to 1.5, and then it went all the way to 3. And then I did some stuff here and there in Cardano NFTs and some other things, but I never got like this welcoming or this help that I'm getting here. And I was there for a long time, and I've done a lot of videos in Cardano. I do like Cardano. I think is also different in its own way. And I was thinking, this is notch technology. But now that I know Radix, I mean, it's now, I don't know. I think that I want to stick in Radix for a long time.
Oh, yeah. And I will say this, Cardano does have an amazing, amazing community, right? Especially if you were there prior to the last bull run, which is exactly what the Radix chart looks like right now. Like if you lay the Cardano chart over the Radix chart right before Cardano shot up to $3, I think it was $3.14. It looks almost exactly the same, but that community, as tight as they are and as great as they are, they don't reach out to you. You have to be very active in that community to realize people will start helping you grow, a group of people. Like half the people that invested in Dan were people from Cardano, at first. It was a huge onboarding thing for Radix when we launched. But yeah, here you just got to show up, and everyone in the Radix ecosystem is there to help. It's pretty cool.
I can speak to that, and I do really appreciate all the help that I received this quick. I mean, really this quick. So, what about your project, Dan? It is doing very good. I think the community is really liking it, and I didn't know. I mean, that you just mentioned that you bring a lot of Cardano people to Radix. That's amazing, and it's really something to applause to you because it's what we are looking for, right? So we're trying to make Radix known to other people, to other networks, to non-crypto guys as well, because there is a lot of good things that can happen here. And every time that I speak with someone, I discover something different that I'm like, wow, this is gonna be the future, really, and we're gonna be able to onboard a lot of people. And I think that's why I'm trying to do with the projects that we're launching, onboard more people to Radix, because at the end, that is the main goal, right? So tell me about Dan. I saw a post that you put that you were not able to find any project that you like, so you had to do one.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure you know this, and anyone that's in crypto knows this, right? You're always looking for that perfect token, right? The perfect token where it's fully in circulation, right? It's transparent. They actually have utility. That is something that you can actually do. It's not like, hey, we're going to build, 1 million arcades and share profits with our community. Like, no, like, I'm sorry, but you can't, that's a pipe dream, right? And it just turned out, that was an afterthought, right? I realized I've been looking for this token that, forever, this perfect token. And it turns out I had to make it myself. But part of the reason it's perfect is because the team really didn't take anything. So I'm actually still in the red from Dan. But that's okay, because that isn't why it was created. And I think that's part of the reason it did so well. The real reason Dan was first created, when I was first showed up here, on Radix, meme coins and stuff, they weren't doing proper pre-sales, right? And I don't, it wasn't, there was no malice behind it, right? I think maybe they hadn't taken part in pre-sales like that before, where you have, a set amount you want to reach. If you go past that, it goes in a pro rata, right? You do all the math, everything goes up, good, solid tokenomics. And so that's why Dan was created, just to show people like, hey, we're not going to take anything from this. We're taking 100% of the money raised, putting it into liquidity, right? 50% of the tokens went to pre-sale participants, 42% paired with that 100% for liquidity. And the rest was an airdrop, giveaways. The team only took 2%. So each of us only got 1% each, and we locked it up for 2 years anyway. So
Nice.
yeah, that was really the whole idea in the beginning. It was just a meme coin about Dan, right? The creator of Radix, Dan Hughes, just to, show people like, hey, we want to set a benchmark, right? Because if you do something great and people love it, the next guy has to do it too, right?
Yeah, that's totally correct. So I think that you do have a staking, right?
Yes. So in the beginning, this was just a meme coin, but I'm like you. I like utility, right, with a token. So we decided to use some of the funds that we raised to have cross-chain investments. All right. So we have an investment fund that 80% of what we make goes back to the holders, right, through passive income payments that you get from staking. And the other 20% goes back into the fund just to keep growing that fund. The team, again, takes nothing. We have, if you go to danxrd.xyz, just click on the staking button and you can see our staking platform. It is locked staking. We actually have I think it's almost 50% of the supply locked. There's over 30% is the community that locked their tokens. 10% of it is extended lock bonus rewards. We took 10 billion, Dan, 10% of the supply, and locked that in the staking component for anyone that stakes for 12, 18, or 24 months. There's different multipliers, all the way up to a 50% multiplier on your tokens when they unlock. And then our liquidity is locked as well. So yeah, almost 50%. It's crazy.
That is crazy. And I've been hearing your podcast. Because you do podcasts with also, right, with different projects for the ecosystem, and I'm getting the culture from Radix from your podcast now. I've been hearing different episodes.
I'm a terrible example. I just want you to know that listen, people, don't ever listen to anything I say. I'm a terrible DYLR.
Nah, don't listen what he's saying right now. No,
don't listen to me. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry.
No, it's a very good start or a very good starting point to understand, because every ecosystem has his cultural things, his different words and this and that. It's very helpful to hear the podcast to understand a lot of things, because there are things that, for instance, the other day I was on the early chat and I asked, hey, who should I interview for early? And they said the dev, and I'm like, oh, okay, who is the dev? And I didn't know, and then I hear your podcast, and now I know that nobody knows. So okay, things like that. It's simple things, but it's good to know, right? So
and they didn't have anything like that. When we started, and this is separate from Dan, Radix Review. And if anyone wants to tune in, it's on every major podcast platform. Just search Radix Review, you'll find it. Or come by every Friday. We do it live on X. But they didn't have a community podcast like that. In the first space I did, we had like over 1,000 people showed up in the space, right? We had a couple like that back to back. And we decided to go with Radix Review, and we're on season 3 already. We haven't missed a week. I think in between seasons, we take one week off in between seasons. But it is a lot of fun, and it gives the community something to call their own. Radix, the official account, does spaces, but it's not the same as a community space.
Yeah. I was today. There wasn't space for Radix Foundation, I guess. I was there, I was listening, but it's different. I mean, it's totally different. So yeah, thanks a lot for that info that I'm really using and getting help. So and what I was gonna say is the staking that you have in your platform, you put down and you
Yeah.
get paid XRD,
Right.
right?
Now,
So
yeah, now
that's amazing.
that's different too. We are the only token that does that on Radix. And you'll see this everywhere, right? There's lots of tokens. Well, they mint a whole bunch of their own tokens for free. They sell them to you, and then they give you as rewards their own token that they minted for free, right? And the only way to make that into money is for you to sell it, which hurts the project that you love, that you're staking with. With Dan, you just get XRD. So we already have thousands and thousands of dollars. Like we have hundreds of thousands of XRD ready for our first payment on January 1st of 2025. But you do have to be staked up to 30 days, at least 30 days before a payment, and they are quarterly. So if you're just staking now, if you didn't stake by December 1st, you're going to miss this first payment, but that's okay, right? We're going to have another one 3 months from then. But yeah, so we have XRD payments. It's pretty cool. It's the only token you can make XRD without selling it on Radix.
Wow, that's amazing. And also, I know that you're gonna. I don't know if it's already live, but you're gonna have a trading bot.
Oh yes. So we partnered with Nebula Innovations and Kumadroid over on Solana. And actually, Nebula Innovations works on Solana. They're on Scale, a couple other EVM chains. They have a whole bunch of stuff under their umbrella. But the Kumadroid bot is an AI trading bot that works with a centralized exchange, but it is completely non-custodial, so it does not control your funds. It's actually really, really cool. It uses an API key to actually just trade for you. You just click risk profile, low, medium, or high, set it, forget it, and the bot trades for you. Not only does it have a neural network, it's AI, but it actually scrapes sentiment from social media platforms. So when people start talking about cash tags, this bot sees that and tries to front run it. So it's pretty cool. It's already working. The bot's up and going. It's making trades for me. But we just wanted to make sure we had a couple false starts in the beginning because it's early with this bot. So it was ready to go. There was an issue with like Kraken with their API connection. So we're taking it slow. It's actually, I talked to Aaron, our dev, the other day. It should be ready to launch this week. I already have all the documentation, everything else for it ready to go.
So it's a bot that is gonna be doing automatic trading based on like in news or trends.
Yeah, no, it's actually, if you go to danxrd.xyz, go to the staking page, right at the bottom where it says learn more, you'll see all the documents for staking. There's also something for the trading bot in there, and there's more pages that are actually hidden right now in the Git book. They're already written up on how to set it up, but when it's released, that's when all that'll be visible. But there's a bunch of technical documentation in there about how this bot works. But yeah, it trades most major pairs on a centralized exchange. And every single trade, it has a 1% fee for those trades. And 50% of that fee goes to the bot to keep it growing, keep, making it better and better. But the other 50% of that fee goes 100% into those those quarterly payouts for our holders. So even just using the bot to make yourself money, it's making you money in your payout too. So it's pretty exciting stuff.
So it's a bot that Dan is gonna be using to create income, but also anybody can use it to put his money to work. Is that correct?
Well, you do have to have at least 100 million Dan staked. And when we announced this, 100 million Dan was only about $100 because we wanted to make sure people that were here early that wanted to take part in this could, and it wouldn't break the bank. 100 million Dan now is a little over $1,000, I think. So it's a little more expensive. Or you could have a Dan OG NFT. That's an NFT that we airdropped to all of our pre-sale participants totally for free. So if you were here and supported us in the beginning, that NFT gives you total all access to the bot.
Wow, that's pretty neat and pretty awesome. So I think I see why people are loving them, and why I was watching trend just before the chart, sorry, just before we start, and it's been going up since October. So congratulations, very good, well done. It's a little over 1 million right now, 1.2 millions, and I mean, I think it's gonna continue to go up and up. So very nice. Congrats.
Thank you. It's pretty exciting stuff. And I think it just goes to show, if a lot of people try to make projects on, not just this chain, but any chain, right? They want to make a project, they want to launch a token, they wonder why it doesn't do really well, right? Or why it doesn't take off. If you're honest, if you're transparent, and you're trying to make your community money before you make yourself money, your project will do well. And you just gotta put the pedal to the metal, right? Like our price after the pre-sale, we dipped, just like everybody else. But we just kept pushing and kept building. And Dan's not stopping anytime soon.
That's amazing. Very good. And before we continue, sorry for the camera. I think it looks ugly, very ugly, but I don't know why I was not able to connect my EOS camera right now to this podcast or interview. So it's the Mac camera and it doesn't look good. So sorry for that. I'm gonna fix that for the following interviews, because we're gonna be doing different interviews or spaces with different projects on Radix ecosystem. So that in Spanish and in English, it's not easy to find founders that speak Spanish, because most of the ecosystem is on UK, right, or somewhere else in Europe. So there is not a lot of people this side of the world, but I guess we're gonna find someone from that can speak Spanish, so that we can also bring more information to the Spanish community. But I did have an interview with Deb that has been developing for 3 years now on Radix, and it was very good. I didn't know what to expect for out of that interview, but I was like, man, we need to have like two more because we weren't we were not able to capture a lot.
I will say this. One of the best things about, like, if you're just hearing about Radix, like when I first heard about it, people, this chain, it was a nightmare to find Radix. Like I didn't know where to get it. Astralescent didn't have their bridge yet, right? Like I'd never used Simple Swap before. But when those barriers are in the way, that's how you know you're early, right? When you have to work a little bit harder to get the tokens, that's how you know you're early. And something that's pushing over 3 million transactions per second, right? That's crazy. On just a test, like Dan just playing around, over 3 million transactions per second, this will get a tier 1 exchange listing, and Radix is going to make people millionaires overnight. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I do see the potential. I think, I mean, what I do on my channel is I do technical analysis most of the time. That's what I've been learning on the last, I don't know, 7 years now. I've started on 2018. And basically, I see the chart for XRD, and I see that, or I think that is going to $1.8 next year. Yeah, easily. I think 1.8 is gonna be easy. So yeah, accumulate because it's gonna get good. And as you said, yeah, because sometimes people ask me why is not in Binance, why is not in Coinbase, and I'm like, that's the good part, because it is still not there, as you were saying. We're
How many years was Bitcoin under $5? Right? Does that mean that it wasn't worth buying? No, it just means people that did were smart enough and early enough to become freaking bajillionaires. Just like everyone is right now with Radix, Dan, and RadixCTO as well.
Thanks, man. So yeah. What else? What do you think that you're gonna go back to another network now that you know Radix at some point?
I think, I mean, I still, I do still love Cardano. I still love Bitcoin. You know, I believe that, you know, this isn't, I say this a lot, so maybe you guys haven't heard it yet, but I'll apologize to everyone else that has. This isn't the Lord of the Rings, right? There isn't one chain to rule them all. I think everything's going to have its place, right? But I think Radix is 100%. That this is where my main focus of attention is and will continue to be. I still love Cardano, right? And especially the community. I think that's mostly it. Just all the friendships that I've made over there. Those people are like family to me. You know, I go to the conventions once a year, and it's honestly like the one time I get to see all my best friends. But even today, I was talking to a guy over on Cardano that has a project over there. I'm going to interview him because there is still cool stuff. But when it comes to the tech and the ease of building, you don't have to be a genius to be a dev on Radix. That's the craziest part of it. You know, it's easy. Like, it's fast, it's cool, it's this amazing tech, but at the same time, somehow Dan made this easy to do.
That's something that I'm really liking. I'm an IT engineer, but I hadn't do anything on the IT world for, I don't know, 20 plus years. But I do have, like, okay, I know I for older people like me, I did some programs in COBOL, Pascal, Turbo, CC, and all those type of things. Then Visual Basic, and all those type of languages. Some a little bit on PHP, but it's been a long time that I hadn't do that. So I try when I was trying to develop something in Cardano, I watch a lot of tutorials, and man, I couldn't do anything. So it's very difficult. And I was speaking with the dev that I interviewed last Sunday, and I was saying, hey, let's do something together with RadixCTO to bring utility to the token. It's also, I mean, it starts as a meme, as the same as you, but I want to bring something back to the holders so that it's useful. It's not just a meme. I think that it can become like a cultural thing for the name and for the type of person or the cat. I mean, cats are taking over the meme space. True. And I didn't like memes in the last cycle, but man, they're here to stay, and they're really bringing people to the ecosystem outside crypto and within crypto. So why fight with them, right? So I think that it can become something cultural and something big. And if that happens, I'm going to be willing to give everything to the community, a DAO or something, so that it can take over at some point. But either that, I want to bring something. I want to develop something to bring back to the holders and to bring back to Radix. So I was speaking with the dev, and I said, hey, let's do something together. You have a lot of experience, so let's do something. And he's going to help me to do good stuff. We were, I don't know, just putting some ideas over there. But he told me, okay, as you have experience on the past, you have to start developing, and I'm going to teach you. And I'm like, yeah, I'm more than happy to learn, right? That's the idea. I would love to do that. So this is going to be a double win for me, because I'm going to learn to do stuff here in Radix. So that's going to make me stay and love it even better, because yeah, I think it's super easy. So far, the tools that I find at this point, they are amazing and super easy to use. So yeah, it's a different technology. The logo is radical difference, right? For Radix, yeah. I think it's changing now to another thing, but yeah, it's true. It's very different, very easy. And again, going back to the community, open arms. That's different for anybody that want to do something or just come and hang out on the community.
Yeah, absolutely. And if anyone's interested, you can go to radixdlt.com. They have an actual Radix, what is it, Radix Academy or Radix University or Scripto. I'm sorry, Scripto Academy, something like that, where it'll actually help teach you stuff. Like my buddy Aaron, He literally is a world-class dev that's worked on basically every single blockchain there is. Most of them I've never even heard of. He's too smart to be hanging out with me. But I told him about Radix, and he built our staking. You know, he's a genius, and he's like, it's like Rust, but 1,000 times better. It's really, really cool stuff.
Yeah. Are you developing as well? Or?
Oh, I'm not. Listen, I'm a small-brained podcast host, and I'm just a degen that talks too much. That's all I do. But there is something else you said that reminded me of something. I got to circle back to Dan a bit, if that's okay. When you talked about, if your token did well, turning it into a DAO and everything else, and personally, I don't like the word DAO only because I believed in DAOs, and then every DAO I ever bought into, it was never a true DAO. So I always stay away from the word. But the Dan Community Council is, if you go in our documents, you'll see about that. I've talked about it on our weekly updates, but not much really out on other platforms. So this token's doing extremely well. We got it set up. It's on CoinGecko. It's over $1 million market cap. It's primed to make thousands of dollars for this community. Every single payout. The team took nothing. We're not taking anything with us. We're going to start transferring this into something where the community makes the decisions, right? If the community has something they want to invest in, it's up to them. This project belongs to them, right? Yeah. And that's the only way Dan can get better is we can always add more utility, but that true decentralization comes when you have a big group of like-minded people from all different walks of life from all over the world, coming together to make decisions about something they love, this project. So it's going to be really cool starting to put that in motion. And there's a constitution that no one has seen yet. For kind of how things have to run, just, to make sure that the core principles of this project, transparency, honesty, community first, stay in the forefront. But yeah, it's going to be pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. Now I want to buy some then.
So get that in, man.
Yeah, and stake it for a long time. Because, if you add up all that you said and then think that Radix can make like 40, 50x?
Easily.
Easily.
I was talking to another founder the other day, and it was funny you said $1.80 for where you thought it would hit, because I told him $1.50. I said, I think we'll easily hit at least $1.50. And he's like, oh, no way. If that happens, like, I don't know what I'd do. It's like, how do you not see it? Like, of course, we're going to get there.
The all-time high is 0.60 something.
Right.
So easily is going to get there. And then I like to use the Fibonacci extensions. You see Fibonacci extensions easily is going to get there. 1.5, 1.8. I think there's no brain. It's going to be easy to get there. So yeah, we are early, as Radix like to say. So chip in on Dan, chip in on RadixCTO, and have some fun, right?
Oh yeah, got to do it. And with Anthic coming, like an intent-based DEX that is every major pair that you can get, every major blockchain you can trade intent-based on Radix, and all the liquidity is there. Flash liquidity with all these big institutional funds pouring money into Radix, like it's going to happen.
It's gonna be easy.
Yeah, the gains you have right now from Dan and from all the any other tokens that are doing well, it's good you're locking it up. Lock it up for 2 years, because if you stake $1 billion Dan in 2 years, you're going to have $1.5 billion, and that right now $1 billion Dan is that's worth a lot of money. 100 million was like $80 a few months ago. Now it's well over 1,000. But imagine that when Radix goes from 3 cents to $1.80, like that is generational wealth. That is the goal, people. Radix is the goal. Yeah. All you got to do is wait. Just wait. The tech is here. All we need is a little bit of time, and we'll get there.
Additional, that is going to keep going up. So adding that plus what Radix does to the upside, it's nonsense. It's you don't have to really think about it. This I don't know if you watch Ivan on Tech. I don't see a lot of YouTubers. I mean, I'm a YouTuber, but I don't watch a lot of them.
Yeah.
But I do like Ivan on Tech because he has different perspective as he's a dev himself. And lately he was saying, right now is not time to be like a brain guy to okay, this is no, just put money in right now. It's time to make money. So yeah,
Yeah.
totally. And with something like Radix, it is a piece of cake. I'm bringing also some people from other networks. One person, Lalo, that he just joined. He was working with me or kind of with me in Cardano, and he was asking me, "But are you sure about Radix?" And I'm like, "Man, look at the chart. Look at the technology. I mean, it is a easy thing to just put money there. It's gonna happen."
Right. And literally and just going back to all-time high, right, would be what, like a 25x. So for every dollar that you put in, you get 25 back. For every $100, you get $2,500. Like that's just Radix alone. Right now, the money's in all these tokens, right? These amazing ecosystem tokens. And with the foundation, with Radix themselves, putting, what did they say, $25,000 a month or something like that into the top 20 tokens on the chain and holding those tokens for a minimum of, I think they said 6 months. I don't check
Yeah,
out the Radix
6 months.
blog on Radix DLT, people, if you want to. Yeah, but that's going to be huge. The buy pressure from that. And something like Dan with 50% of the supply locked up already. I mean, come on.
So guys, this is a message for Dan community. Please help me help RadixCTO to get to the top 20. We are on top 30 something, so it's gonna be easy to get to the top 20 because we do need that money to develop good things so that we can bring back to the community and to bring back to you, right? If your community is gonna buy a little bite of RadixCTO, if it can become a cultural thing, I mean, it's also gonna do big gains, right? Right now it's on 100K market cap. It's been maintaining there. Now I didn't make a pre-sale. It was just I put everything there with a small liquidity, and then the community start buying. I did got a 30% of the whole supply, and out of that 30%, I sent 10% to the FOMO guys that I didn't know. They get in contact with me and they ask, "Do you want to do an airdrop to us?" Sure. I sent 10% of the TD I had, and then the other 10% for staking rewards. 5% I lock in for 5 years, and the other 5% is for airdrops and community tips and all that stuff. So just having fun. And the people that bought at the very beginning, I mean, there was one guy that I think that put like 50 XRTs, and then he sold $1,200 for 20% of his purchase, and he still have his 80%. So there are those guys that are taking profits, and is normal. People is like, why they don't let the token go up? I mean, it's distribution is normal. It's gonna happen, and it's good for the project long term. So yeah, also if this token gets to a million, 10 millions, to the map, it's very good. If it's get to be like a cultural thing on the Radix ecosystem because it's early, then it can be a good degen inversion. I always say, as the persona of the token, RadixCTO, this purple cat, do not buy. This is going to zero, and it's better, right? Because we never know what's going to happen. But I mean, you chip in $20, $50, and it can make good money at the end.
Absolutely. And I like what you said about people taking profits. That people get too emotional, too attached to projects sometimes. and they get upset when somebody else sells their tokens. And that's what people are here for. We're all here to make money, right? And yes, it's different if it's like a founder dumping all the tokens. You can be mad at them. Okay, that's terrible. But if people are taking profits, like at Dan, we never sell shame. That's something that people are, you supported us in the beginning. You made some money off it. That's great. The holidays are coming up. Do what you want to do, but you are going to miss out on those bigger gains in the future. It's a personal choice. And it is important that's just the cycle, right? That's how distribution works. And we never know what's going on in people's lives. I've seen a lot of times people have sent me DMs talking about, oh, I have to sell this, NFTs on other chains. Like, I don't want to, but I have this going on at home. I'm scared what people are going to say. You never know what's going on in someone's life. So never sell shame, but yeah.
Yeah, it is like this guy that sold Bitcoin when it was, I don't remember, 20 bucks, 0.20, and then he sold on 0.60, and then he was complaining, oh man, now it's $1. Why did I sold? So it happens. And I know a lot of those guys, not just with Bitcoin, but with Pepe and Shiva and a lot of histories that happens. But you never know. I mean, if you do a 10x, it is not bad to take some profits.
No, like I remember, oh my God, this hurts my heart just talking about it. Ape Society was one of the biggest projects on Cardano, as I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
Then they turned in. I don't want to talk about Ape Society now because they're terrible people, in my opinion. But when they first came out, I minted. I managed to mint one. Somebody else's transaction failed, and I managed to pull a mint. I just gotten into the ecosystem. NFTs were just starting to pop off over there. And the next day it was up 2x. And I was like, oh, I doubled my money, right? So I sold it, right, for 200 ADA. I bought it for 100, sold it for 200. Those went up to 40,000 ADA at one point during the last bull run when ADA was at I think it was like 275 when that happened. And I was like, oh my God. It's like, well, but you can't, if you get a profit that you're happy with at the moment, you can't live in the past, right? You look for the next time, the next opportunity to make money. And that opportunity is Radix, it's Dan, it's RadixCTO, it's early, it's HIT, it's FOMO, it's all of these amazing tokens on the Radix blockchain. Yeah.
Well
definitely.
said.
Don't miss out.
Don't miss out.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I will.
But you will. Yeah, I will too. Right, man, the machinist. Why that name? Just to finish.
Yeah, well, when I first got into crypto, I never had a Twitter. I never had Discord. And I needed a username, and I was a machinist. I worked in a machine shop. So I was like, well, I guess NFT machinist. That's my handle on X and Discord and everything else. I just went with it, and then the show 6 months later. The show was doing so well, and it won that award. I couldn't change it, so now I'm stuck as the machinist forever.
That's very good to know.
Could be worse,
right? Well, thank you very much for your time. Thanks for explaining a lot about Radix, a lot about Dan. I hope that you have a lot of success. And when I say you, I mean your community, because they deserve it. And I hope Radix does super well, and that we can be saying some years from now to many people, I told you so.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you. And the Dan community really is. They are they're the cream of the crop, man. But the entire XRD community is fantastic. The only reason I'm here and the only reason Dan's done well, we just came up with a good idea, right, for a project and decided we wanted to be honest and transparent and be selfless and not take money from the community. Everybody else took it from there to this over $1 million market cap. That's 100% the community's work, not ours. So pretty cool stuff. But thank you for having me. This was awesome. This was fantastic. I feel bad I don't know more Spanish. I'm going to practice. And I'm going to come back.
For sure. Thank you very much. And we'll see you guys, Radix community and non-Radix community, on December 21st on the holiday special, right?
Yes, on at @whenmint_podcast on X. We're now hosting Radix Review there. There is now over almost $5,000, well over $4,000 worth of NFTs, tokens, and just good vibes that we're going to be giving away. 90 minutes and nothing but giveaways. So yeah, come through. It's going to be a lot of fun. And RadixCTO did donate a hefty amount of tokens to that. So thank you very much for that.
We love it, and we hope that there is a lot of people that can come into to Radix thanks to those type of holiday specials events, because I think that they do have a lot of views and a lot of movement to different chains. I hope we can bring a ton of people to Radix so that we can be a big happy family. At some point, when the projects start being bigger, I guess that the fights are gonna start between the projects. But so far, right now, it's amazing.
Yeah, it will happen eventually. Yeah. But we're early, right? The ecosystem's still small. So as people come in, everyone listening, help to shape it, right? Because we can do that. If you keep this community friendly and helpful, there will always be infighting degens or degens, right? But we can shape this community as it grows. We just gotta put the work in. And if there's anything the Radix community does well, it's put work in.
That's correct. Well, thank you very much. And we'll keep speaking on Telegram groups and all that good stuff.
Sounds
Bye-bye.
Good. Later, buddy.
Later.